All right, everybody, welcome in to the Maestro Extreme ARCA series. I am excited to be here. Tanner now in the booth with me. Tanner, welcome to the series.
Thank you, James. I'm absolutely excited here. Our admin at Extreme Motorsports 99 has been extremely welcoming, so I'm looking forward to it, James.
As it should be a good one. We're going to go ahead and start gritting up here, but first, some race day information. Of course, this is the season opener at Daytona Super Speedway. It is the Maestro's Classic. This is a classic 2.5 mile super speedway. 68 degrees. We're racing under the lights, folks. It should be a fun one as Alexander Brown starting off on the pole with an absolutely fantastic run, and all these guys just really ready to rock. I heard it in the drivers' meeting. Everybody excited. I know we are excited as well to get this thing going. And a lot of fun. It's going to be a good time here, I think. Have a good time. We're going to have a good time with you. Let us know in the chat. Keep it active. Keep it fun. We'll be talking with y'all shortly. So, Tanner, ARCA cars here at Daytona. They're about to get running. Are you? You've been in the ARCA cars. What do you think?
So I think they can easily be one of the best cars on the service, but also the worst at the same time because any contact between the front bumper and rear bumper, you will more than likely be spinning to the inside or outside wall. And as we heard, the admins actually mentioned that if you're bump drafting in this race and you spin somebody, you are at fault. So we know that bump drafting here is very dangerous, though, James.
Definitely is. We're going to go ahead and through the grid here shortly in the Maestro's Classic and show you where everybody's lined up at. Of course, we got Alexander Brown with a 49.2, blazing fast in the ARCA. David Elliott on the outside. Dennis Weeks is going to start inside row 2. Row outside is going to be Jason Brewer. Row 3, Ed Morris and Kyle Bartles. Ed Morris Sr. starting out row 4 with Troy Anderson on his outside. Justin Lemecki in 9th, and 10th is going to be Rob Rogers. 11th is going to be Jason Teets. Then, there we go, TJ DeBlasi on the outside. Row 6. Row 7, Raul Alvis. On his outside is Matthew Greathouse. We got Sebastian Taylor, Mike Franklin, Mike Pullen, one of the guys we've been talking to, Tim Hull, Corey Danielson, Kevin Franks, Eric Driggins, Robert Colgan, and Brandon Wasserman, as the green flag's gonna come out here. Alexander Brown gonna lead us around. He takes the green flag. Everybody lined up, staying in their positions as we are rolling here, folks.
Yes, we're in turn 1. You already see a few cars dropping down to the inside, getting ready to take on these 80 laps as they don't want to be side-by-side cars coming on to the back stretch here in turn 1. As we see the green car right there, the Ford Taurus, I want to say. The 307, is that right, James?
I believe that's
304, excuse me.
Yeah, the 304, the 34 on my screen, but walking that bottom line. It's interesting. These cars in these ARCA cars, not too much aero. It's all flat. They're actually able to go a little bit faster than their NASCAR counterparts. So yeah, it's going to be fun to see how these guys work together. Everybody getting to that bottom line currently. David Elliott, the only driver hanging out up top there. He's got some help behind him, but help is hard to come by in these ARCA cars because you just do not want too much.
Yes, we're already looking at 3 miles with the 68 of Rob Rogers in the middle. Can't really tell who that. The 95 of Kyle Bartles is going to cut him off there going into turn 3. You got the 22 on the bottom just inside of them. They were 3 wide for a split second.
The exciting racing up front here. Everybody working out. Back in the field, we got a couple gainers. Eric Diggins making some moves in that 21, splitting them 3 wide. He's wasting no time. And he's going to be, he's got the, what is that, the 121 trying to follow him through the line. So you can see everybody kind of trying to figure themselves out. And some people not waiting at all. They're going to, if they see a spot, they're going to take it.
Yes, in the outside lane, David Elliott really didn't have any help there for a while, and he was able to maintain himself in the lead here. Going to be 3 wide on the top. The 95 is going to, almost into the wall. Excuse me. I got distracted by how close he was to the wall, but as you see him fall in line there, row 4 on the outside line.
Yeah, everybody working it. Everybody trying to make something happen in this Maestro Classic ARCA series. Starting off at Daytona, fantastic run as David Elliott is going to see the momentum in that top line, go up for the block. That's Raul Davis behind him, and Alexander Brown just nothing going. That top line is zooming.
Yeah, but one thing that Alexander Brown has in his favor is that he really don't have anybody to block here. They're all single file on the bottom. It looks like the 021 of Eric Driggins is actually kind of all over the place. Excuse me, that's the 50 of Raw Avis. He is actually all over the place, but David Elliott is going to take advantage of that and go low here right in front of Alexander Brown as we're about to go across the travel here, James.
Yeah, these laps ticking away. Currently, Eric Diggins with the fastest lap in the service right now. Oh, it just got taken by Brian Wasserman. All these guys coming from back to front. Absolutely flying. We've got a couple of them. Keep an eye on. Raul Davis up 10 positions. Eric Diggins 16 positions. Mike Franklin up 8 and Brian Wasserman up 9. So top 10. Everybody wants to be up there. It's kind of up to you where you want to be when the accidents start happening.
Yeah, and the man all in control here, David Elliott, is all but safe here. Alexander Brown right on his bumper. As we see the 97 actually scoop forward. Dennis Weeks is going to close the gap on the 50 as it looked like the 67 just disappeared there for 2 to 3 seconds.
Got to keep an eye out for that as connection issues on this big tracks. It kind of happens when the service is trying to catch everybody, but we'll see if Raul in that number 50 car, if he's going to be content sticking up or if he's going to take those positions and cash in and drop to the bottom line, as there's only one other car out there. See if he's able to make it stick or if he's going to start losing positions due to that draft, nobody helping him behind him.
Well, see, one thing I want to point out here, all 23 cars have the draft of each other. The farthest that the interval is in between cars right now is about 3 to 4 tenths. So that's within the drafting portion of the cars. So the aerodynamics here, keeping them all 23 cars deep.
We're on the back of our leader, Elliott, here. You can kind of see just how aggressive the front of those ARCA cars is and why a push is not going to be incoming, because it will just lift up that car and really hurt you. That the denim car behind him of Brown looked real good. There you see, just with 2 cars, the top line able to come back. Possibly a little side draft coming into play there as he's able to put some air on that rear spoiler and drag him back, throw the e-brake on him, see how long it lasts.
Yeah, David Elliott actually able to edge out there. The 50 of Raw Alvis is going to put up a very, very good fight with the elevated team Mike Franklin, but as they cross the start and finish line, David Elliott did have the advantage by half a car length.
Getting those laps led, those points so important in these series. And as we move on, you will get to know a lot of these guys. But as we start off in Daytona, this is the 11th season of the Extreme Scoring and Maestro's Classic ARCA series. So they race together. They know what it takes. So I like this. I like starting out at Daytona with a group of guys that know each other and can keep it clean, because anyone can win. And as we saw Michael McDowell do this last year, if you are able to get a win here at Daytona, that's really all you got to worry about, staying top 25 in points and showing up, and you're into the playoffs.
Yeah, my thing right now is the 58 of Mike Poulin, the 8, the 17, the 98 all staying back right here to try to avoid any carnage in the first maybe 40, 50 laps of this thing? Or was that a strategy? Was that not a strategy and they just lost the draft partially? They're about 3 seconds behind our leader, 4 seconds, excuse me, but it looks like they still have a little bit of draft.
Yeah, with everybody lined up right now, these big, massive spoilers that all these race cars have nowadays is going to help them out, as it's just an absolute slugfest here at the beginning. Raul Davis going to come in front, get in front of that low line. The 67, Alexander Brown, out to dry right now. Nobody behind him. He's going to have to really utilize that side draft or otherwise cut back behind the 82 whenever he gets a chance. Oh, 97 peeks out. Dennis Weeks wants a lap led. He's started third. He's third right now. He's going to try and get up there. I know Alexander wanted to see that as we're on lap 10 of 80 here, folks. What a show.
Yeah, so one thing I want to write down in my notebook before we get towards the end of this race is that a two-car tango is actually possible here on the outside line. So something to look forward to at the end of the race if it comes down, push to shove, bumper to bumper. As the 50 of Raul Alves is actually going to edge him out, coming out of turn 2. But you got to watch the momentum of the 97 and the 67 outside here. As they're even, actually. I thought that he was going to be a little further back, but they were even coming out of the corner. Let's see how much of an advantage these two cars have. About a car length.
Yeah, they are moving. Just a good arrow push on Alexander Brown as he's working with the 97 there. It says no bumping on the back. We like to see that. I remember Tanner, I raced with you in an ARCA league. That's where I cut my chops. I believe every single person on the service should ditch the D-Class ARCA series that iRacing puts out and join yourself in ARCA League, because you really learn how to handle these things. But my car had no bad touch there right on the bottom, so it doesn't help most of the time, but these guys definitely pushing, as you can see just how close they get to the back as these ARCA cars are working together, as they're going to actually clear and be able to come down in front of Alves.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing here is that it don't matter if you're teammates or not. If you get in front of me, I'm going to push you to the front. That's what looks like it's happening right now, excuse me. But as the 97 of Weeks is going to take over here in the lead, as we're looking at Kyle Bartles back there in 23rd on pit lane. Now, we do have a 75% tank, so that is approximately, I forgot how many gallons. Give me just a second and I'll figure that out, James.
Yeah, Kyle Bartles coming down pit road, wondering if that's not a connectivity issue that stopped him. He is taking a pit, maybe coming in on his own. You got to think that that's an issue he's trying to get fixed, maybe fixing the setup on this ARCA car a little bit better, throwing some tape on him. Everybody else, I'm not seeing an interval as we go back through the top 10 more than 0.3, 0.4 seconds. So all these guys really staying close together as they lined out. Everybody kind of happy where they are right now.
Yeah, so we have a 14-gallon tank, so I'm going to say about half a gallon a lap, possibly. So anywhere from around 25 to 30 laps is what I'm going to say for fuel runs. We will verify that once we get to it, but we're working lap 14, so approximately another 10, 12 laps, and we'll start seeing pits, hopefully.
Definitely is. I think this is as good a time as any, folks. As we've got 14 laps in the books, everybody's stretched out. We're going to keep an eye on the right side, but we're going to go to your ESPN side-by-side action. Stick around and support the guys who support the league.
Changing the face of the world doesn't happen overnight. It takes a strong group like no other, each containing unique characteristics, ones that inspire change and progress. To be a maestro is to lead, to inspire, and to create, helping shape both communities and industries. Changing the face of the world doesn't happen alone. It happens with strong leaders, ones that defy all odds. The first generation of barber maestros helped create the movement. The second will define it.
All right, folks, we are back on the rear end of Dennis Weeks. As you can see behind him, just every single car lined up out there. Kyle Bartles, unfortunately, if you're keeping up to date with him, he has left the service. Last completed lap 12, so the 95 of Kyle Bartles. Count him in the hauler, Tanner.
10-4, that is taking the 95 of Kyle Bartles.
So everybody else just kind of hanging out right now. This is what you're going to see a lot in these Daytona races. These folks coming out and trying to get as many positions as they can. Speaking of which, Eric Driggins right now in that 121 Infinite Motorsports was able to come down and get 15 positions up to 6th, and that's going to be the highest he did. He's going to cash in his chips, get to the bottom of the racetrack with everybody else, as well as Brian Wasserman, another one who's up 15 positions. But our biggest loser, I'm sorry, that's the wrong term, but the falling back is Jason Teets. Hit from Moorefield, West Virginia, in that number 8 car. He was down 9 positions. He's just going to go to the back and kind of ride it out for a little bit. Might not be a bad thing to do as we got movement here. Robert Colgan hopping to the outside. We got a mover here, folks. 3 folks up in that top line. Tanner, is that what we need to see moving forward, or is it the time to go?
It is not the time to go, but I think they're experimenting for what they can do later in the race.
Yeah, you said pit window about 30 laps, 35 laps, so they got plenty of time to get down to the bottom. But we're going to see just how quickly this line develops, as I'm sure Robert was seeing some real estate in the bottom line. So he thinks even if he gets up here, he's going to have a chance to move down, especially with the 78 of TJ DeBlasi out there with him. That 2-car tango really able to get moving. Oh, as we got Raul Davis teasing up that he was going to put a block on him. He's not. Not quick enough, as this 94 car's flying down 190 miles an hour, folks. Really getting a good push by the 78. Because there he goes. Raul Davis doesn't like being this far behind. Going to get back in that high line, see if he can get anything going there. Oh, as we got 3 wide coming to the flag, Raul Davis, he's going to push the 67 to the top line. Let's see if they bail on him. It's not going to matter what a run he has. He's going to go to the inside, the 94, come up and block. That was an exciting move by Raul Davis, showing us why he's up currently 11 positions. He's able to make those moves and take a chance, Tanner.
Yeah, taking a chance is what you need to win here, but I think it's a little bit too early unless he has a different strategy than I would running this race. But the 97 here in command by Dennis Weeks. Raul Alvis is in command on the outside, followed by, is that the 94? It's hard to tell here. Yeah, that is correct. 94 of Robert Colgan.
Oh, Robert's going to bail on the inside. They're going to teach Raul Davis why we don't do that. Raul Alvis, I'm sorry, as Raul's now going to be hung out to dry on the outside after that move. I think, Tanner, if you're Raul and you're finding yourself in the middle, 7th or 8th position, I don't mind hopping out and trying to get some free positions, but this is the risk you take as we see Raul kind of falling back right now, trying to see if he has any friends on the inside line that are going to let him down into the safety net. But it's not looking too good for him right now.
Yeah, the one thing he had to look was in his rearview mirror or on his relative to find out that they're all single file behind him, which he's making a little bit of ground up right now. But if this does not hold for him and if he starts losing positions, he's going to go all the way back to 22nd place because 22nd place is still in the draft. So he's either going to have to find somewhere to go on the inside or make his own way on the inside, as we see him pinching the 82 of Mike Franklin right now.
Yeah, just a very aggressive side draft that he's trying to get down here and get, but that's what he's going to have to do to keep himself in contention. But every car that he misses that side draft on is going to get out in front of him, and that's another car down. But he's holding his own pretty well here. No takers. Let's see if he's going to be able to get down behind the 82. It doesn't look like he is. That 3-wide move, maybe everybody's trying to stay away a little bit. But just a lot of skill here in this Maestro Classic ARCA team as everybody is kind of working together. There he goes. He's going to squeeze by a hair between Mike Franklin and David Elliott, pushing actually himself down below the yellow. And now David Elliott gets stuck on the bottom. Going to try and take the momentum on the high side. Big checkup. This car is a lot. Go ahead, Tanner.
I was just about to say pit road action should open up here within the next 3 to 4 laps if my math's correct, which it may not be with the draft. It could be stretched out longer. But that'd be one thing to look at, who stays up high and who goes down low here.
Yeah, as everybody's going to have to figure out their teammates. The absolute thing you don't want to do is come down with lottie-dottie everybody. These darker cars are not known for their brakes from up to 200 miles an hour down to pit road speed, which I believe is 60 here at Daytona. Is that correct?
60 or 65. Give me just a second. I will check here.
Yeah,
80 mile an hour pace car speed, 60 mile an hour pit road speed. And as you said, ARCA brakes usually become the own car, not the brake system.
Definitely. And if you get everybody trying to fan down into pit road, especially with the pro rules that these guys have, you can't be hiding down in the pit lane to try and stay out of trouble. You got to put yourself into it and really be aware of what's going on around you. As Dennis Weeks, your current leader, started in third, was able to capitalize with Alexander Brown, who started on the pole. But he's going to be able to, so it's shaking out. Those aggressive guys kind of falling back to the 5th and 6th spot, and these guys up front really working together, tandem in that 1st and 2nd spot. Behind him, Raul Davis up 10 positions. And we got David Elliott in 4th, Mike Franklin and Robert Colgan, two that fought through the crowd in the beginning, up to 6th. TJ DeBlasi in 7th. Matthew Greathouse in 8th. Eric Diggins 9th. Jason Brewer, your top 10.
Yeah, so as the leaders go into 3 and 4 here, once they come across the start-finish line, 2-lap 28, there'll be approximately 70 miles done of this 200-mile race. That is approximately 80 laps, 2.5-mile track here at Daytona there, James.
Definitely. And if you guys are watching us on ESPN's YouTube or Facebook, be sure and like and follow over there on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any of this action. We're going to be here every single week. And if you just love racing in general, we got you covered here at ESPN. You guys can check out all of the stuff we've got going on right now. We've got playoff racing going on in our other channel with the playoff battle of the Circle B Diecast. The Rowdy Energy Cup Series. Running next gens there, so you can go check that out. But don't stay away too far. Come back as we're about to hit pit road action. It's going to be crazy and wild, folks. Once all these teams decide what they want to do, all in their own channels. No takers yet, but as you said, Tanner, it's coming. Don't look away.
Yeah, and you just mentioned takers here. I'm looking for a group of 5 to 10 cars. Maybe that if there's a group of 5 to 10 cars, I'll go ahead and tell you that's gonna be your winning pack. If there's more than about 15 or 20, there's gonna be chaos there. So the smaller the pack here that comes down pit road, I think the better for that group, is they won't have as many checkups coming out of pit road, as well as they will have momentum on the backstretch once the pack catches them.
Yeah, and I bet the hesitancy is trying to figure out if we can stretch this to a just a one-stop race. If you can hit that 40-mile mark, otherwise, if the green light's on. You gotta take 2 stops anyways. You might as well come down as soon as you can, as long as you've got a group formed up saying that you're ready to go to get the advantage of the draft. As we see him coming into turn 3, they're pretty content where they're at. Turn 2, there we go. That works out.
Yeah, Dennis Weeks still in the lead. Alexander Brown second. Raul Alves third. David Elliott fourth. And rounding out your top 5 here before the first green flag cycle of pits will be Mike Franklin in that 5th position, as we're riding on board with the front bumper of Alexander Brown.
Oh, we've got takers. We've got takers for pit road, folks. David Elliott. First one down pit road, Eric Driggins. Ed Morris, Sebastian Taylor, and Ed Morris Sr., father-son duo there racing. It seems like everybody made it down pit road. And just like you said, 6 cars, just outside that 5. They're going to have the advantage coming out of having a smaller, more dedicated pack. As I guess Dennis Weeks is now trying to do the math and thinking, hey, we are not going to make it on a one-stop. Let's get these cars in there as soon as we can.
So I was about right on the money there. 30 laps on fuel. As we see the 97 go into pit, bringing on a host of cars.
Everybody all more or less making it down pit road. That's 8 cars. That's going to be Raul, Dennis, Alexander Brown, Troy Anderson, Rob Rogers, Justin Lemecki, and Brian Wasser. Oh, no! Dennis Weeks gets into the box sideways. That is super unfortunate for Dennis Weeks, as he missed the box a little bit there. That's going to be a huge killer on his momentum that he's had throughout the whole race.
Yeah, TJ DeBlasi is actually your leader right now. P1.
They're going to try and get this thing moving. There's a couple lap cars in there, I believe. Raul just made it out. Our cars that pitted at lap 30 are in with that front pack. As everybody's stretched out now. Everybody is trying to work on their own strategy. Raul possibly getting out too fast. Currently 2.5 seconds above Alexander Brown, who came in on the same lap, and there's a host of cars behind him.
Yeah, that looks like the 7 of Evan Morris, the 14 of Evan Morris Sr. leading that group right behind him. As we're just looking at TJ DeBlasi. That front 3 still yet to pit here. Is that a lap car behind him? Or an off the pace car? Number 58. Yes, that is the 19th position of Mike Pullen.
Mike possibly gonna be positioned, maybe some trouble down pit road for Mike. He's with that group that's probably just about to come in. As Raul will inherit the lead. This is going to be the battle we're going to watch, folks, because this is going to determine who's going to inherit that lead. As Bill Hall, Jason Brewer, Kevin Franks, Jace Chastain, Teets, Corey Danielson coming in. So now Ed Morris and them. Sorry, it's going to be the ones who are leading it around. Got a lot of traffic here, folks. Those lap cars falling back, trying to get in line and catch a draft. Oh, as we got 3 wide and slower cars trying to just stay out of everybody's way. I think everybody negotiated them correctly. And now we got a battle for the lead. Ed Morris. And on his outside, Mike Franklin and Alexander Brown pushing that outside row. As that switched up everybody that just came down pit road. Dennis Weeks now currently scored 19th. We saw that issued out pit road. He is out on his own, hoping for something to happen here. Is the pack gonna pass those that just came down pit road? Robert Colgan. There you go. Alexander Brown officially inherits the lead. Slow car of Brown going to the bottom. That's your first pit stop run. It seems like that group that came in at lap 30 and lap 31 taking the advantage, keeping the momentum. That is your lead pack.
Yeah, so far your hardest charger is the P6 position of the 021 of Eric Driggins, up 15 positions from where he started.
Yeah, it's worth noting. Alexander Brown started this race in the pole, and Jason Brewer started in 4th, Troy Anderson in 8th, and Justin Lemenke in 9th. Those 4 cars are your only top 10 qualifiers to currently be scored in the top 10, just showing you the pressure as Bill Hull possibly coming in for a black flag. Sure. But that speaks volumes to how that aggressive movement that we saw in the restart came into play later in the race, Tanner.
That is correct. And to be up front, you can't go backwards. And if you go backwards, what are you, James? Not in the front.
Yeah, you're off your pit strategy. You're in the back. It's a lot harder to come down pit road and keep that momentum if you come from the back. I saw a couple guys do. But now Mike Franklin scored as your leader. Started in 16th position. Now he's up to 1st. With a huge run with Raul Davis, who has been a notoriously good pusher, but also an aggressive driver. He's going to pop out to the outside of Mike Franklin and hope to get something started with that's Alexander Brown on the bottom and Jason Brewer up top. As both of these lines are developed, it's a drag race every single race, but that bottom line is going to have to utilize the side draft to be able to keep it up. As the 67 is right on the bumper of Mike Franklin, trying to give his team the advantage on the inside.
Yeah, and just a little heads up, after that green flag cycle, we did have 2 black flags. Lap 31, the 58 of Mike Poulin was given a pass through for driving through too many stalls, as well as the 29 of Bill Hull, too many stalls.
Yeah, you got to get used to that, especially if you're racing officials, or a lot of leagues aren't pretty stringent on that, but we like it here. But you got to get used to getting into your pit box correctly and not taking too many spots. Make sure everybody in the pits are safe. As the 67 is going to pull out, he's done with Franklin. Now Raul is going to help him to the front. Going to take the lead with Raul. Raul, I haven't seen him outside the top 10 since he made his charge up there. Just very good at picking his lane, and we've seen him get out hung out to dry a couple times. That side draft he works really helped him out there. Let's see if Brewer is able to duplicate it, as he's on the outside currently.
Yeah, so we're about 100 miles in out of this 200-mile race, lap 40 of 80. James, and is this anything like you expected? Any freight trains, any side-by-side? What were you expecting going into this?
I've raced too many ARCA races to expect this clean of racing for this long. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it, but it is what it is. But yeah, these guys out here putting on a show on how to drive these ARCA cars at a super speedway, getting right up to the rear bumper, all but touching to get that car ahead of them with an advantage. And the new aero package, I don't know if you can call it new anymore, but the aero package that iRacing has out right now, really showing that top line can hang out. It used to be dominated a year or two ago just by the bottom line all day, every day. But once they implemented that side draft, that's what gives us this good racing. Is we got the lap cars. I believe that's Bill Hull or TJ De Blasi, Sebastian Taylor, and Mike Pullen about to go a lap down. That's going to shake things up in this group.
Yeah, the 50 going to lead the 97 or 67 on the outside. They were 3 wide for a brief second with the 78 on the inside. Or excuse me, that's not the 78. There's a 78 paint job, but it looks like... Who is the 78? Can you see?
Sebastian Taylor, I believe. Not sure. Is that Mike Franklin?
Mike Franklin's second on the outside line, so...
That is a lap car. That's TJ De Blasi in the 78.
Alrighty.
Fighting for the lucky dog. He's in the best position to get it. Because every pass that this leader makes, TJ's going to get in on. So trying to put himself in a position to get his lap back if something happens. They're 3 wide with the 82. Absolutely flying back. Mike Franklin, aggressive. It gives and it takes away. He took that super high line and pushed back currently to 6th. As Raul Alvis, now your leader. He's been fighting for that spot the whole race. Now what's he going to do to keep it?
Honestly, I don't know, because he has the 78 of TJ De Blasi fighting for that lucky dog. So I think TJ's going to sit here and try to push him. That way he has the best spot for the lucky dog. So I think Raul's just going to have to stay in line with the 78 for him to stay up front.
Yeah, we'll see as the 304 on the outside. You see that green and camo paint job of Lone Wolf Outdoors on the outside. And then the Denim 67 trying to help out in that Ford Mustang on the outside line. As both lines are formed up here, folks. This is exciting stuff. If you've ever been around an ARCA series, you know that this is one step away from danger, but these guys are handling it like pros, keeping these wheels pointing in the right direction. Not too much wiggle coming out of them as we are coming to 45 to go of 80 here in the Maestro Classic ARCA series.
Yeah, the 78 of TJ De Blasi doing an excellent job of pushing the 50 of Raul Alvis, excuse me. As they're working around the lap car of, is that the 29 of Bill Hull, TJ De Blasi actually able to pass him there. TJ locks up that lucky dog spot as they pass the 29.
Yeah, but Jason Brewer currently, the 78 is going to lead this pack, so he's currently got his lap for now. No one is happy with their position, it seems. So we'll see how long he takes it. But Sebastian Taylor now going to be your lucky dog in the 27. Important to note, because anything can happen at Daytona, especially with as the laps tick down. We're going to see more and more aggressive driving from these guys. As the 67 of Alexander Brown started in the pole, and he is your leader. He's going to do everything he can to keep that. Seen him prefer the bottom line. We'll see if he can get the 82 to get him up there. Now Jason Brewer involved on the bottom. So 2 wide, Tanner. Every single time we see a lap car come into camera view, you know our leaders are thinking about it, especially if you're in that high line, because pretty much that opens up a guaranteed 3 wide.
Yeah, no one's going to concede here and go single file around a lap car, so it's definitely going to be 3 wide. So we're looking at Dennis Weeks is actually the lap car coming up. He was in the lead, and now he's fighting for that 17th position that he's about to get passed by for TJ DeBlassie.
Because that's all he needs is that little bump. And then it looks like Jason Brewer is going to let him in and give him the push, but Alvis, doesn't want anything to do with letting anybody by him. He is in the middle. He's the meat between the 87 and the 7 of Ed Morris. See what he can do as the 67 gets enough to push down, but Raul, absolutely a pro at using the momentum he has. He's already back up to second, Tanner.
Yeah, slingshot engaged right there, Ricky Bobby. No, I'm kidding. But anyway,
that's exactly what it was. Go ahead.
I was about to say the draft here, as long as you don't break up your momentum in the corner, you can carry it, but you'll lose it the moment you don't have a car behind you on exit. You can carry it into the corner, but as you see there, he's about 2 car lengths away from our leader that he was even with on the backstretch.
Yeah, luckily he's got help. That outside not leaving Matt to dry because they want to stay up there as well. That's Justin Leminke. Started 9th in the series. He's going to help Raul up there, but possibly peeking out to get some air. As Alexander Brown started on the pole, and he's hoping to keep that spot. Coming out of turn 2, I'm sorry. I give it about half a lap before Raul comes down and tries to take that spot away.
I give it this turn.
I believe you. I'm with you. As you talked about the slingshot. Yeah, there it goes. You talked about the slingshot. The Ricky Bobby. You can't do that in NASCAR anymore, but these ARCA cars, you can do that. 100%. You can get the slingshot down. These are restrictor plates, so once you get out in that fresh air, you really get all that clean air going to your motor. You can pop out, and the drag not play as much of a factor for that initial little bit as your horsepower kind of overcomes it. See Raul holding back just a pack of wolves behind him. That Furniture Row machine of is that
the 78 of TJ DeBlassie.
TJ DeBlassie trying to position, because so battles within battles, right? Dennis Weeks, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Came down pit road, missed the pit box, came in a little sideways, and had to adjust that. That brought him back down. He's a lap down. And Sebastian Taylor and TJ also taking a long time down pit road. They're the ones who are fighting for the lucky dog, all-important lucky dog in this lead pack. And they are close. Sebastian Taylor and Dennis Weeks. Keep an eye on the 27 and the 97 as Raul Davis holding down that bottom line with Alexander Brown.
Yeah, there's 2 battles here within 3/10 of each other, like you just stated, the lead and then the fight for the lucky dog. But we're going to see our 2 front runners of the night, Raul Alvis and Alexander Brown, the 50 and the 67. Taking advantage of that battle and going to march their way to the front and not look back.
Right. If Justin Leminke has anything to say about it, he's got a good pusher behind him in the 27 machine. I believe that's the 27 machine. Yep, that's Sebastian Taylor, who's hanging his hat on the high line to keep him the lucky dog. We're going to pull up our track map just shortly to see if we got any lap cars coming. They don't. Everybody pretty much forming into this line. What a consistent group of guys in these ARCA cars.
Yeah, we got the 14th and 15th place of the number 8 Chaston Teets and the 17 Corey Danielson that are 22 seconds away from our leaders. So here in about maybe 15, 20 or so laps, they'll be lapped.
Yeah, that 3-car breakaway, I've seen it happen in trucks, and I've seen it really work in the Xfinity cars, but not in these ARCA cars. You really need to get that horsepower train going to make something happen. As Justin Leminke working that outside line, clears them before they go into the turn, but always that shorter distance around has the advantage, especially when they don't have such an aggressive side draft that they had when Raul was leading them. They're working on horsepower alone. It's going to be hard to get past the leader of Raul Davis without a side draft. Oh, as Alexander Brown steps out. Tries to use a slingshot. We'll see if that hurts him as we're 3 wide. Coming through. Who you got, 78? Who you think has the momentum? As with that, Justin Lemenke's going to just take the time to bounce to the bottom lane. He doesn't want nothing to do with that fight. Oh, big checkup by 78. The 47 coming all the way down. There's at the 27. Sebastian Taylor checking up to 78. We talked about the lucky dog battle. This is it. The 27 and the 78. That move was aggressive, but he had to keep that spot ahead. The all-important lucky dog fight going on here.
Yeah, he actually cut the nose of that 78. I'm surprised they didn't wreck there. Nice save by the 78 and 27. Fighting for that lucky dog position, almost taking out the leaders.
Yeah, that would have not made anybody happy in the next drivers meeting, but luckily 78 doing everything he needed to check up. But I think he's going to remember that if the 2027 needs him later on to draft. But right now, everybody kind of content. Everybody except Raul. Man, keep your eyes on this guy. Raul has been all over the front. He's been at the top line. He's been at the bottom line. He's cut the butter on a 3 wide more than once. So the 57 of Alexander Brown has been up there with him. He knows that if he gives Raul an inch or a peek at a third lane, Raul's going to use the slingshot and take it. So he's sticking down close to the 37.
Yeah, that 50 right there, in about 22 more laps, I'd look for him to be in the front row. As right now he's pushing Justin Lemke to the front as they pass Alexander Brown, who is on their outside. Yeah,
there you go. Just when is he going to pull out, right? As we've got 24 to go. Pit road is open, and the time to come down is ticking down for these drivers. So that top line, I expect it to kind of fall back in as soon as possible so they can be in a better position across the field up. There we go. We called it. Raul Alves to the outside of the 35 car.
Go ahead.
Hopping up in front of Brown. Oh, man, gets a little squirrely. He's got nowhere to go. That was close, folks. You saw it on board as he was not clear of the 35, and the 67, who's been watching it all race, has said, I'm not going to clear you either. You're going to have to race for it. As courtesy is running out, as these guys get closer and closer to the finish, they're going to start shutting doors just like we saw there.
Yes, as I was just about to say, James, pit road should be, the pit lane fuel strategy should have opened about 7 laps ago. So I'd expect within the next few laps for everyone to come down. But those cars that pitted around lap 33, 34 can go approximately 5 more laps or so, more than our first group can.
Yeah, I bet your pit strategy just depends on what's out the front window and who's coming in, who your spotter's calling out. Hey, this team is going. Do you want to go with them? Or we suggest it, as it's 100% Chevrolets. ARCA, that's all we got going on here. So no manufacturer call is going to come down. Everybody's just going to see who they like, and teammates that possibly shook hands before the race and said, let's work together, as we're going to Go one more lap before we see that decision being made with Raul Alves up front. And Sebastian Taylor, that's the lap car on the outside, hoping for something to happen here. As he's in the Hornets' nets, though. This is where it's going to happen if it's going to happen.
Yeah, if there's going to be a wreck here, it's going to come from that 50. And honestly, I don't blame him. He did what he could do. So the 27, as we took a break in our Lucky Dog tracking, he's actually up front, about to unlap himself. That would put the 97 right behind him, Dennis Weeks, in charge of the Lucky Dog position if the 27 can pass the 50.
Yeah, that's the best case scenario for him. He went from battling the 27 to now he's got to work with him and got to get him to the front of that inside pack so that he can at least have the Lucky Dog concession. You know, you want to start. You'd rather get your lap back naturally. It's going to put you in front of all the lap cars. That's what the 27 of Sebastian Taylor is thinking. But if you have to be the lucky dog, that puts you at the very end. But it gives you your lap back, which is something that he really wants to see after his stop caused him to go a lap down.
Yeah, James, 20 laps to go. Going to pick up the battle really, really quick. The 50, 67, and 35 are all fighting for the lead here on the bottom. So they have about another car length back to the 94 of Robert Colgan due to those two lap cars, the 27 and the 97.
Yeah, just up there, just battling. Dennis Weeks really, really hoping that the 27 gets in front of this pack. But farther back is Bill Hull. Bill Hull is currently scored in the 19th position, started in the 18th. So not having a terrible race yet, but he is a lap down. He needs something to happen, as well as David Elliott, who's also in that lead pack. Mike Pullen, of course, with that black flag, I believe, and Kevin Franks in this group of three cars that is trying their best not to get lapped. As we got pit road takers in the back, Ed Morris, Eric Diggins, standing out to come down pit road. Ed Morris Sr., David Elliott, and Mike Pullen all coming down pit road, the first takers. As Junior and Senior there coming together again. And up front, this pack still fighting on the outside.
Yeah, and I'll be keeping a look on the penalties here, James. If I'm quiet, that's what I'm doing. I'm reading and looking for penalties here.
Just an idea, folks. That top line is, I believe that's all people trying to get their laps back. Everybody else comes in. Raul Davis leads them down. Alexander Brown, Justin Leminke, Rob Rogers. 3 wide. Oh, no, the 35 gets squirrely. That's Justin Leminke. He's in the infield. He's going to have to get that thing in. iRacing's not going to throw a caution on that. I don't think NASCAR would either, as he got that thing gathered up. That's going to be huge. Justin Leminke just now getting rolling after a very unfortunate entry down pit road. We're going to watch the race off. It looks like Alexander Brown, Mike Franklin, and Brian Wasserman, your first three out there. Raul taking 15 seconds, a little bit longer than everybody else. He's actually going to make a pass coming off of pit road. Man, the aggression doesn't stop with this guy. He wants a win so bad he can taste it. Jason Brewer sideways. What happened there? Oh, just decided to bail too late on it. That's really going to hurt Jason Brewer. Very unfortunate for Jason Brewer. Now Robert Colgan and Matthew Greathouse, your only two lead lap drivers.
Caution.
Ed Morris and Ed Pullen. Oh, big wreck. Oh, man, we missed a big one there, Tanner. And see what happened here. Looks like it happened in front of him. That was Corey Danielson. Oh no, the 77 of Brian Rosterman, Corey Danielson involved, Bill Hull, Sebastian Taylor looks like got out of it. Let's see what we can see, folks. It was happening right there. That's what did it. 17 of Corey Danielson and the 58. Lap car coming down a little too hard. It's Mike pulling. Pinball machine. Whoa, big wreck here, folks.
Yes, I'm looking at the penalty report now. Lap 64, the driver at fault is the 58 of Mike Poulin. Contact with the 17 of Corey Danielson. 58 EOL is the penalty. 58 was off pace down into the 17 was the notes.
Yeah, lots. A lot of cars needing some service after that. Ed Morris Sr. able to get it going. Dennis Week still currently in pit road. Bill Hull, Corey Danielson, Kevin Franks, and Mike Pullen trying to get those cars back to serviceable position. As we're going to go ahead and go to an ad break. You're not going to miss anything, but keep an eye. Keep an eye and stick around here, folks, as this race has opened up. All right, folks, we are back. We appreciate that word from Maestro's Classic. Mike Franklin now in the lead. Alexander Brown behind him. Raul Alvis after that pit road cycle, currently sitting sixth, but don't expect him to stay there for long, Tanner.
No, he'll be up there with that number one beside his name on our presentation of the ticker tower.
For sure. As Mike Franklin's going to tighten up the straps, get that visor all cleaned off and ready to rock as that Ford Fusion pace car is going to take the hard left down pit road. Mike Franklin, Alexander Brown, Rob Rogers, Robert Colgan, Matthew Greathouse, your top five. Here we go, folks. It's on the leader. Mike Franklin, whenever he wants to go, he is going to hit the loud pedal. Green flag is out here at Daytona with 12 laps to go till our finishing until the exciting conclusion of this. And folks, I guarantee it's going to be exciting as Alexander Brown pulls down Robert Colgan. Going to stick to the outside, up 19 positions. He's fought the whole time, and just as we say it, Raul Davis already sitting in the second of that outside row, pushing Robert Colgan with a huge push to take the lead.
Yeah, the 94 and the 50, Robert Colgan and Raul Alves battling for your lead here. Assisted by the 22 on the inside line, Troy Anderson, and Mike Franklin is the 82, excuse me.
Yeah, no lucky dogs here as we last saw it around. Jason Chastain Teets and Ed Morris coming down pit road. Possibly some issue there as they're going to come down pit road. So your top 11 on the lead lap. That's how quick it can happen, folks. The big one, taking out some big names that had a lot of opportunity here, but unfortunately now it's the battle of the come from behinds as everybody in the top 10 minus Jason Brewer, Rob Rogers, and Alexander Brown started outside the top 10, and here they are fighting for position with 11 to go, 10 to go when they hit the line.
Yeah, before that ad break, I actually forgot to mention that there is no fast spare, so once you're wrecked, you're wrecked. And you can't get that damage fixed and get your car back out there, then that's your race. And here we are with 10 to go. We got to keep that in mind, as if there's any wreck here before the end of this race, those drivers more than likely won't be able to come back out before they get their damage done.
Definitely not, but Robert Colgan, he's hoping nothing happens as him and Raul Davis are trading blows from the inside and outside, and everyone behind them just hoping that they keep it clean or they have an exit strategy as we're door to door all the way back. Everybody smelling the finish line.
Yeah, the 94 edging out as we see the lap car there going to the inside onto pit lane.
Yeah, every lap car they come behind, they're going to not do the traditional tow and then pass. They're going to have to be really aware of that speed disparity as a lot of these guys are down on engine power if they are caught by the leaders, which I don't think we have anything until the 17th position of Jason Teets. So right now, it's their race to win as Raul Davis and Robert Colgan, your top two, Troy Anderson, Alexander Brown, and Mike Franklin, not too far behind them.
Yeah, the 94 is still in control of this race, up 21 positions. He is the hard charger.
Yeah, and it's making it work for him as everybody coming down pit road on different strategies. Nobody deciding to come down on that last pit stop except Matthew Greathouse coming down, making sure he had enough fuel, and he paid for it. He's now currently running 8th position as he's going to have to find a way to carve through this line, as I don't think Raul's going to let anything go down the middle. Oh, is he not 94? A little bit of a block on Raul, not there in time. He's going to stay side by side with him. Come into the line, go on the back bumper of Robert Colgan just to see exactly what he decides to do as he just teases that block, but Raul's not falling for it. He's not lifting. Is Raul in that blank paint job 50? If you guys are looking for somebody to sponsor and you want somebody who thinks that they can win every race, coming out here driving aggressively but doing so in a manner that hasn't really put himself, maybe one or two close calls. Oh, as he's banging, as I'm talking about it, they're banging behind him. Anderson and Alvis, that side draft all important for Raul, maybe chasing it a little too hard. Is Raul unable to get the advantage to clear, but he's all but, I don't know if you can call it a side draft if they touch. Can you, Tanner?
No, that's actually a bump.
That's contact. It's no more. As Robert Colgan has his hands full, whole nest of folks behind him, and don't count out Alexander Brown in 5th position, 3rd row on the outside. He started in the pole, so he knows how to be fast here. Because it is an absolute slugfest. We'll see how long this outside group lets Raul lead over. As a 3rd lane might develop coming to the end as everybody tries to fight for position, with Robert Colgan stepping out of car length right now on Raul. As quick,
Go ahead.
as quick as you say it, it's gone. Just the advantage on the straightaway is insane for the outside line.
Yeah, momentum is honestly what this race is going to come down to. Can the outside line keep the momentum, or can the inside line stay consistent enough and not split off into 3 wide?
Oh, bad touch! Huge wreck, 94. Robert Colgan leading the race. I've seen it 1,000 times. If I've seen it once, gets a bad touch, pushes him to the outside line that had no room to check up. And just like that, Robert Colgan really hurting there. Let's see what happened. Oh, very unfortunate. Alexander Brown hopefully able to stay clean. Thought I saw a 7 involved. As we see Sebastian Taylor dive into the low line to keep out of it. What a save by Sebastian Taylor. It's Robert Colgan, and then get that with him. That is the 22 of Troy Anderson. See just how quick it happens up here, folks. Anderson, just that tiny push, and then the hook. Oh no. 67 hard contact, 62. Pretty much everyone in your top 10 has contact after that. As that changes things. Raul Alves, Sebastian Taylor. Who, if you'll remember, Tanner, Sebastian was one of the ones who was fighting for the lucky dog not 30 laps ago. And now here he is in 2nd place, both him and TJ de Blasio.
Yeah, he's up here fighting for the lead with 2 to go whenever we go green. And honestly, I didn't think he was going to be able to do it. But let me put it a certain way before I screw up. He rode the freight train on the momentum, the 27 putting himself up there. He went through the infield to get there, though. He went through the grass, but that was avoiding a wreck, so I think that is permissible.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see this from his point of view as he was back in the pack. You know it's going to happen. I mean, if you're him, you know it's going to happen. As he just says nope, ducks right down into the grass, hoping that he can come up clean, and he does so with the carnage in the rear view mirror. Man, that's going to take us to overtime. Why don't you walk us through what NASCAR overtime looks like, Tanner?
So there is one limited green-white checkered here, and what that is you have one green flag lap. The next lap will be a white flag, and on that white flag lap, that's basically a 1 to go. So you start off with 2 to go. That's the green flag lap. The white flag lap is 1 to go. Any flag, either the checkered flag or the yellow flag on that last lap, makes the race official. So they could be on the back stretch, have a wreck, and a caution comes out on the white flag lap. That will be the race. But normally in iRacing, there is no caution on the last lap. But in real life, there would be.
Yeah, especially at Daytona. Even if it's Daytona, they're going to let them run it out unless a driver is in obvious danger and they're going to throw that yellow because you got 2 miles to slow down, really, on the backstretch when that happens. So just one attempt in this series at a green-white checker. So more or less, Tanner, no matter what flag, if a yellow comes out with 2 to go or on that second lap, that's going to end it. So you're talking about no unlimited. So these guys kind of like they're looking for rain. They got to fight for the front at every stop. No lifting, no letting anybody get in front of you. This is the race and where you're going to be.
Yeah, once the yellow flag comes out, once the green flag waves, or the white flag, or the checker flag, that's it. There's no going back and changing that. So as soon as that green flag drops, you got to treat every turn like it's your last. And the pace car lights are out, so once we come back around, we will be going green here, James.
Yeah, so just real quick, if you're watching on ESPN, we appreciate the heck out of you. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get, is this going to be a natural finish? That's the question. Let us know in the chat, yes or no, or what your predictions are, as that pace car is about to take the hard left turn. Now Raul Davis leading with a pack of Hornets behind him. Let's see if he can get it done. As the green flag is out, they're racking them up. Raul Alves to the front. Sebastian Taylor with a really good jump on the outside. They are rolling here, folks. 2 to go in NASCAR overtime in the Maestro Classic ARCA Series. As Sebastian Taylor and Raul Davis really have their work cut out for them. TJ DeBlasi and Matthew Greathouse pushing for their lives. That's another one. TJ DeBlasi, who was fighting for the lucky dog, in here now fighting for a win. Let's see if Raul can make it happen, as that outside line has way more momentum. Everybody bailing on the inside to get behind the 78 and the 27 is Sebastian Taylor. Now the 78 comes down. He's got the advantage, as he's going to come as your leader with 1 to go. Behind him, they're super racy. Everybody fighting for position. But now Raul Davis seeing the back of TJ DeBlasi. How aggressive is he going to be?
Yeah, white flag is out. TJ is going to take the lead. Raul's going to be on the inside, hoping for the push. How ironic, the 78 and 27 were just fighting for the lucky dog. Now they're out front. The 50-year-old Dave Alvis is going to take the lead. 51 is going to push him. That's Matthew Greathouse pushing him on the backstretch.
There we go. As we got touching. TJ DeBlasi getting touched by the 27. Now we're 3 wide. The 51 in the bottom. 82 in the wall. Mike Franklin in the wall. He's going to hold it up there. He can gather it up. 78 gets turned. 78, DJ DeBlasi. It's the big one. David Elliott. Robert Colgan is now your leader. Robert Colgan going to come down and take the checkered flag after being absolutely demolished 4 laps earlier. David Elliott in second. Mike Franklin. Everybody else just trying to limp this thing to the line. Sebastian Taylor with the hood up coming across in 7th. TJ DeBlasi trying to work it on. Jason Brewer limping that thing in 9th place. And in 10th, Jason Teets is on the backstretch. He's going to coast this thing to the lead. What an absolutely crazy finish, folks. Oh, man. Raul Alves involved in that.
Yeah, the front runners for most of the race did not win the race. That's surprising. We did see the 94 and 42 out there very early, but towards the end they were non-existent. And then on the last lap, the 94 was right where he needed to be in this wreck.
Yeah, those 2 cars in front of him, lap cars. Wow, what a finish for Robert Colgan. Able to thread the needle in a destroyed race car, as he's going to be burning it down on the infield as well as he should. There you go. That's how quick it happens, guys. Going for the win in a broken car. That's going to be Robert Colgan, your race winner. We're going to give him some time to breathe and go ahead and see if we can get Mike Franklin in here.
User was moved to your channel.
Mike Franklin in the third position, man. Tell us about that final lap.
Yeah, that was a heck of a lap, wasn't it?
for a couple people.
Yeah, when I got that run coming into the corner, and I thought, take it 3 wide, and they got up into me, putting me in the wall. I actually thought I was out of the race, and then I seen those other cars. They started spinning in front of me, so I'm like, well, maybe I'll just get back in the gas and see what I can get, and wasn't really expecting third.
Yes, we're watching the replay right now in front of you, just absolute chaos. And I was actually following you because I saw that contact, and I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were out of it too, Mike, but able to come back and get third. Just tell us about the race in general and what you had to go through coming from 16th position.
I thought I had a really good race. Just a lot of patience. I didn't want to make moves too early and didn't want to make them too late, and wasn't too hard to get up towards the front. These cars track pretty good. You can get pretty good runs, and I just went where nobody was. And once I got up there, I stayed up there and made a pretty good pit call by just getting a splash of gas and 2 tires on the last pit stop, which put me in first place there when that first caution came out, and just kept me up front like where I wanted to be.
Definitely. And so Mike, who you got on the car? Who you want to shout out after limping that thing to the line to get a podium?
I want to shout out to Mission 22 for recognizing veteran suicides and Black Rifle Coffee and our sponsor Maestro's. Shout out to the admins and everyone at Extreme and all the drivers. They did a really good job, and thanks for all the fans for watching, and really hope that they got to watch a really good race.
Definitely. Tanner, you got anything for our third place finisher, Mike Franklin?
Yeah, one thing I want to ask, once you went into the wall, did you think you were going to be able to keep it straight, or did you think you were going to the infield?
I was doing everything I could just to. I knew if I tried to pull it off the wall, I was going in the infield. So I kept it up on the wall long enough to know that when I was good and I could bring it off the wall without bringing it down in front of everybody and just causing any more chaos, and try to get as best finish as I could with what happened.
Well, that was smart on your part, because these cars are about the worst. Once you even touch the wall, it's pretty much stuck like glue. So very, very good strategy there, trying to get your car off the wall and keeping it straight, and that's why you got awarded that third place finish.
Yes, sir.
Good luck in the next race, Mike, and
all right.
Hopefully we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys, appreciate it. You have a good one.
You as well.
User was moved out.
So that was Mike Franklin, your third place finisher. Now we're going to talk to David Elliott.
User was moved
David,
to your channel.
Congratulations on the second place finish. What was your view through that last lap? If we got you, David.
Yes, sir. Hey, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. So in that Virginia Tech Chevrolet, tell us about that last lap and what you saw through the front glass of that thing.
Man, all I seen was cars parting every which direction. I got into the 77 and just prayed that I kept it straight to get through all that mess, and somehow ended out second at that deal. I don't really know how I did it, but it was amazing. It was a good night of racing. Like to shout out here to Extreme Motorsports, putting on one whale of a race. That thing almost went green flag all the way.
Definitely. And it just in these ARCA cars, we talked about the push all day, and I was actually astonished that I didn't see a bad touch until the very end. So David started second. We saw you fall back halfway through and just got back up to the lead lap. What did it take to stay in it and keep it clean to get there?
Yeah, I made a huge mistake there on our first pit stop. I locked the brakes and got caught speeding on pit road. That put me a lap down and just kept fighting and just kind of waited till hopefully to get a caution. And we got lucky and got a caution and got one of those laps back. and got back on the tail end of the one lap down, and then somehow ended up with the lucky dog there on that last restart, and still had damage. Did not go in a pit. Luckily, somehow had enough to keep up in the draft, but yeah, you could not get nowhere close to another guy's bumper. If you did, you were going to spin them, so you kind of just had to ride and just sit there and wait. But it was awesome, man. Thanks again to Extreme Motorsports. We got Maestro's hair products there and beard products. They come on board with us here to sponsor this ARCA series, and it's started out pretty awesome. I'm excited for the season.
I know we are as well after that race. So, David, again, congratulations and good luck moving forward. And hopefully, we'll see you next week.
Absolutely, man. Thanks, you guys, coming on board. Also, you're new with us broadcasting. Appreciate it. Big shout out to you guys. Was kind of listening to you as we were racing there. Y'all did a hell of a job. Good job.
Hey, we'll take it.
Thanks, guys.
User was moved out of your channel.
All right, and I think Tanner, you've got Robert. Let's see, you've
User
got
was
Robert
moved to your
Colgan
channel.
with us in the booth. Robert, I believe you're muted. Hear us? There we go. Robert,
What's up?
congratulations on the win. Tanner's going to take it away.
Yeah, so Robert, we saw you early on in the beginning of the race. You were up front, and then about halfway through, you were kind of mid-pack, and then at the end there, you put yourself into the position to win this race. What ultimately put you there?
A whole lot of luck to win. I mean, we were leading with a few laps left to go, and 22 hooked my bumper. Got a little impatient. I didn't even want to be up front there at that point, but I had to do that. And I'd fix whatever I could and went back out there. I could barely keep the draft there, and I just had an itching feeling there was going to be a wreck there towards the end. I didn't think there'd be a wreck for me to get the win, but pretty much just a whole lot of luck.
Yes, you just mentioned a damaged car. Do you think that with that damage, it pulled you out from where on that last lap you wouldn't have been caught up in that wreck and ultimately gave you the win?
Oh, absolutely. I was pretty mad, so I was going to fly up through there and just try to pass everybody by myself. So I guess the damage that I got kept me back, forced me back there to kind of just stay back there and make it a waiting game.
I got you. I'll let James finish it out.
So, Robert, you said we followed you in the last. So we followed you in the final. The caution that brought out the overtime. You were on the receiving end of that. So tell us about what your thoughts were coming down pit road to try and get that damage fixed.
I thought it was pretty much over until I came in. I seen these ARCA cars are pretty durable, so it was close to almost 4 minutes worth of damage, and I took what I could, and thankfully TJ DeBlassie and Matt Grayhouse, they were still on the track, keep me updated where the pace car was. I fixed what I could and seen all those cars a lap down, so I was just planning on finishing top 10. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I had no plans after fixing it and then taking off. I didn't think I was gonna have a chance at winning the race. I was surprised I even kept up with the pack, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, shout out to the crew. After that last caution, I just watched it. Your right rear was off the ground, so the crew really went to work there. But, hey, just congratulations on the win. Tell us who you got on the car, who you want to shout out after what was a hell of a finish.
Well, I guess myself. I mean, my company. I mean, it's Colgan Enterprise. That's all we got on the car. But shout out to Matt Greathouse and TJ DeBlassie, and then Kyle Bartles too. He was having some issues. We got to get that fixed, and so he can get back in race. So shout out to them, and shout out to the Extreme guys and you guys for putting us all on.
Definitely. Well, again, man, congratulations. Hopefully, we'll speak to you next week.
Thank you.
User was moved out of your channel.
So that was your race winner, Robert Colgan, coming from heartbreak, leading the race and getting turned, to coming through an absolute minefield to get back to the lead. Tanner, if that's the finishes we can expect to see from here on out, sign me up. I'm excited about this series.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that makes that even more interesting is that he started 20 seconds. He was up 21 positions at the end of that. He went from putting his head down with damage to winning the race. So that honestly tells you how Daytona can treat you. And if that's any treat to what we get this season, James, I'm on board.
There we go. So, folks, we're going to go ahead and run through our grid here. We appreciate you sticking around. Again, we appreciate Maestro's, everybody else sponsoring this thing. Extreme Motorsports, we appreciate them as well. So we're going to go ahead and run them through, show you guys where everybody finished out in the overall. Here we go. Robert Colgan finishing first. David Elliott limping at home in second. Mike Franklin third. Raul Alves able to gather that thing up, come across the line. Troy Anderson, Matthew Greathouse, Sebastian Taylor limping that thing with the hood up in seventh position. Not a bad finish for your hood being over in your windshield. TJ DeBlasi in eighth. Jason Brewer ninth. Chastain Teets coming back from some adversity mid-race, able to come and get a top 10. Ed Morris 11th. Justin Lemecki 12th. 13th. Eric Driggins. 14th. Dennis Weeks. Alexander Brown. And then I'll let you finish them out from there.
So 16th, Rob Rogers. 17th, Ed Morris Sr. 18th, Brian Wasserman. 19th, Kevin Franks. 20th, Corey Danielson. Bill Hull, 21st. 22nd, Mike Poulin. And rounding out your top 23, 23rd, Kyle Bartels, who was actually 69 laps down. So very nice.
Nice. So here, that's it, folks. We appreciate you sticking around here at ESBN and watching over on Facebook and YouTube. You can catch us same time, same place next week, as we are going to be in, let me see here. Where we're going to be next week. Bear with me for this one. As there we go. Our next event in the Maestro's Classic is going to be Monday, October 25th at Richmond. So all these guys are going to be able to carry this storylines, as NASCAR likes to call it, over to Richmond. Don't miss that for a moment, folks, as we're going to have 180 laps at the short track. So that's going to be a good one. But from all of us here at ESPN, myself, Tanner Nowell in the booth, just remember to take it easy, and hopefully we'll talk to you next week.